You are listening to the BowhunterPlanet podcast, Season 6. The podcast is supported by Scent Crusher, Scent Off, Game On, Tinks, Cat Work Truck, Victory Archery, Thorn Broadheads, Shadow Hunter Blinds, Cobra Archery, Burris, HHA Sports and HHA USA, Reveal Cellular Cameras, and Deer Camp Coffee. Enjoy the show.
You're listening to the BowhunterPlanet podcast, your gateway to the wonderful world of archery, bow hunting. Now, your hosts, Tim and Dave.
Hey everyone, welcome to the BowhunterPlanet podcast. Myself, Tim Mazariana, as always, along with Dave Thomas. And tonight, having some fun with Chad from Bowadx. That's Bowadx. Some really cool apparel and clothing, man. I can't lie. The stuff that you guys have going on there, the designs are pretty darn sweet, Chad. So I wanted to first of all just call out your fake Zoom background there.
Yeah. Well, Dave turned me on to this. He if you do a Google search, you can find this. Anybody can use it. But yeah,
I'm gonna need you to take a picture of that and send it to me so I can use that as mine. It's even in the shadows, but I got a nice house plant in my background there. You know,
is that what that is? I can't tell what that is.
In the shadows over there. Yeah.
It's probably the biggest buck you ever shot.
That's what I see. No, that's all I see. I'm up. It reminds me of being up in a tree stand or in a ground blind, just looking at nothing. So it's motivation.
Well, I guess if you're a vegetarian, it makes sense. Is that right? Yeah. Is that?
I'm not gonna go that far, but yeah.
Yeah.
One time, believe it or not, Chad, one time we talked about a vegetarian restaurant on the show with Easton.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tim's like, this has got to stop.
I had to change the subject on that one, man. We were losing viewers.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. I tried a vegetarian diet all of, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, and it ain't gonna work. Well, it was like a pasta, a tall salad after about 3 or 4 days, in the restroom. My body didn't handle it very well.
No, the same thing with me, man. My body likes the protein, that's for sure. So
yeah,
I tried vegetarian for about 3 days myself, but that was only when I had the stomach flu.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
It was more just starving myself. So
yeah. Oh man.
So Chad, tell us a little bit about Bowadx, man. I want to get the background, how you guys started, how you guys come up with these cool designs that you guys have. What's going on over there?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got the name right. First of all, I mean, I've heard everything from Bowadx, and I don't know what, I guess they get the sorry, my phone hit. They get the DNA mixed up, but yeah. So Bowadx, man, I came up with that in a tree stand in Kentucky, back in, I think it was maybe 2011. Originally, it was Bowadx. I had a guy work on a logo and all that good stuff, and it just wasn't quite, I didn't feel it too much. Then it was in that same tree about a year later, and I thought, man, I got to make it flow, got to make it, and anyhow, so that's where the ADX came in for Addix. I thought Bowadx, yeah, it's, and so it all stemmed right there on a hunt with my dad. Had a really good hunt. Actually, it's kind of crazy I mentioned it. This deer right here. Don't be
pointing out your fake deers.
that is the day I came out. What a coincidence! Really, I promise you, I didn't do this on purpose. That deer right there, that is the deer I shot the day I came up with Bowadx. Really, yeah, no crazy, man. Yeah, that's him right there. Wow. So yeah, man, that was let's see, we launched in 2013. I will say I went through about 10 or 12 different designers at first trying to come up with a logo, and I threw Mark's name, but Mark Danker. I was watching Buck Ventures. No, I'm sorry. Major League Bowhunter. I saw Jeff, Danker and the guys, and ended up calling them, and they were like, yeah, Mark, which is Jeff's cousin, I think, or brother-in-law. I get it mixed up. Maybe brother. They're related. So got hooked up with Mark, and after a few unsuccessful tries with some other guys, Mark hooked us up with a fantastic logo. He did about 30 for us, but man, it just, I knew it was all coming together. So we cranked that up, got everything started back in, late 2013. Mark started us out on most of our designs right off the bat. And then I started taking over all the design work for the most part, maybe late 2014 or 15, I can't remember. And man, we've been real blessed. So we've hit, I think we've sold, maybe 27 or 28 countries now, and all 50 states, across the US. And we just try to put out a good product. We try to do a handwritten note on every single invoice that or
really? That's
slip
cool,
that yeah, everything that goes out, man, it's all personalized. And so we just try to take it a step further than maybe we should, but man, it's all about that personal touch. And have a really good fan base just the people that buy our apparel, they just come back more and more and more. And we've got people that tell us they're on their third or fourth same shirt, that they've worn them so much, they've worn them out. So which is cool. But man, it's been just a crazy ride, but it's been really good. I mean, we've just I try to have it to where you can shoot any bow in the market you want to, whatever it is you want to do, and you can still wear our apparel. And of course, you'll see a lot of our stuff is faith-based. That was one big thing when I started Bowadx, man. I just want to share my faith out, and have it to where, I don't know, it can be a stepping stone. So if someone sees that, they're like, man, that's a cool shirt. And it's got, what's that verse on the back, or, Jesus, or, this, and have, let it be a conversation starter, man. Just feeding that, just sharing the faith with others. And next thing you know,
it's funny you say that, because the first thing I noticed was the cross inside your logo.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And I got in my cart right now that Blessed Hunter archery t-shirt. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that is my favorite, man. Hands down, that is the one. I'm on my third myself. I'm on my third one of that one. And I was at church one day, and preacher said something, and it stemmed that idea. And I came home. I think I had that thing done in maybe 30 minutes. And awesome. Just everything just popped it. And so yeah, I'm glad you like it.
No, I love that, man. Does that I mean, honestly, I'm gonna toot your horn, because I know you probably won't toot it yourself, but that type of mentality where it's the woods, it's God created it, that type of spirituality. And I'm a Christian, so Jesus,
awesome,
all that. So the way that you handle life, but can transition that into business, just fits so well. Because when you care about other people and you care about your clients that you want to take care of when you're running a business, I mean, that type of mentality just goes hand in hand. And I mean, you could see that in your designs and just the way that you're talking, man. So that's absolutely amazing.
I appreciate it. Well, I don't know. I have a minor in youth ministry, and
how do you deal with those? Oh gosh, man. I pray for my kids are actually right now while we're recording. I pray for him every week, having my kids.
That's crazy. Well, I got talked into teaching the 4th and 5th graders at church now. So man, I'm doing that on Sundays, and I forgot how rough it is, but yeah, and I've got a caribou on the wall here that I took in Alaska, and a black bear behind me, which is a crazy thing about
how
this black bear.
How many fake backgrounds do you have?
I've got 5 or 6. It all depends on which way you turn it. It all depends on which podcast I'm doing, So, but no, man. It's a funny story on this bear. Well, I got ADD, but I'll tell you. I had just moved into a house in just south of Nashville, so I got this bear in, and I thought, man, it'll go right above my bed. So I'm hammering away at this bear, and all of a sudden, the neighbor, first night in the house, he's like, he knocks on the door. He's like, man, I hate to say this. He said, my wife, she's asking you if you'll turn the bass down. I'm like, no, man, I'm trying to get a bear rug up on the wall. So he probably thought I was making that up, but no, I mean, really, I'll tying now everything back to the faith. That's just, I don't know. I just got, I wanted to do something where I can, this is, to me, it's like God's company. I'm just an employee, and man, I try to run it the way he would want me to run it, and just treat people the way I want to be treated. And
you know who
man,
you sound like?
Who's that?
You sound like our good friend Chris Ham over at HHA, man.
Hey, I love Chris. Chris is. I'll toot Chris's horn, man. Well, I met Chris, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and what a great dude.
No doubt.
Yeah. He's wanting me to come up to, I think in July or June or something, for one of his HHA USA shoots. So hopefully I can try to make it up, man.
Hey, let us know. I mean, we're actually looking at a date ourselves this year. So if you're going that time frame, if we can make those dates work, that'd be really cool for all of us to get together. We're definitely trying to get out to Wisconsin. It's a little dry. You're in Kentucky, you said? I'm in
Tennessee. All the fulfillment's done out of Kentucky. But I think well, yeah, right. Yeah. I could go somewhere with that, but I won't. But no, I think it took us maybe, I'm trying to think. We did a show there. Where was it? Is it the Deer Classic or Deer? What is it called? I don't know.
Over in Wisconsin?
Wisconsin, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, before COVID hit. I forget which one that is. I'm trying to think how. Well, all I remember about it is driving through Illinois, and I think it was Illinois. Every 10 miles, it seemed like you had to pay a toll fee.
Yes.
Yeah. And I had the enclosed trailer, and it was, I guess, for every axle or whatever.
Yep.
Holy mackerel, man. I was just insane.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. That's definitely Illinois. We do a lot of camping in my family. Like, we camp 30, 40 days a year, and we like to do at least 1 2-week trip out of the year. And there's a couple years we headed west towards the East Coast. But once you start to hit, like, Ohio has a toll road, and it's Ohio. I mean, they need the money, so I'm happy to give it to them. Because we're in Michigan and we know that they're poor and they need it. Just kidding, Ohio fans. Love you all. But you hit Pennsylvania and you start to go a little bit more east, and it's like every 20 miles there's a toll, and you're paying probably $15-$20 every time you hit one, because you have like 3-4 axles. Absolutely ridiculous.
I forgot what it ended up being, but man, I mean, you talking about testing your faith. I told my wife, here I'm going, trying to sell Christian-based shirts, and I was so mad and heated, because I'm like, is it ever going to end? But I may have to add that to Chris's bill or something. Just say, hey, I'm going to have to invoice you if I come up.
yeah, that it sounds like a shirt to me.
Yeah, Pray, there you go. Right.
Toll. I don't know.
Right. Oh, you never know, man.
Toll.
You never.
Pay the toll. There you go. That's a good one.
That's pretty good. Let me write that down.
Pay the toll.
Free to use it, man. Free to use it.
Yeah. There you go.
So your inspiration obviously comes like from your faith, and that's absolutely amazing. But like, what is your background? Do you have a graphics design background?
No,
what is it?
Man, I don't. So I was going to be an art major in school, and
that counts.
Yeah. But it ended up being a biochemistry degree in college. So, I mean, I don't know how that came about, but back then you didn't have, I mean, you had the internet, but it was all dial up. It took you 5 or 10 minutes just to get on the internet. And so everything was different. Graphic design really wasn't it was a growing market, I guess, growing realm, or I'm trying to think of the right word here, but it just wasn't anything that you could hang your hat on. But when I owned a fitness center for a good while. I used to be big into personal training. I competed in bodybuilding for 25, 26 years maybe. And when I had a gym just south of Nashville, and a guy had a Mac computer, and he sold it to me, and I started doing just a little bit of graphic work in Photoshop, trying to learn that. And but I really, once I bought Bowadx, man, I got hooked on cameras, video, and the people see my page, I'm just a fanatic with, about photography and stuff. But I got into just learning Photoshop, and I just picked it up and started, learning that Illustrator. So most of my designs are in Adobe Illustrator, and just learning. Man, if I didn't know how to do, I'd go online and YouTube it. I mean, I spent, I don't know how many hours I've got on YouTube, but
no, welcome to our world, man. I mean, that's really kind of the name of the game. Is once something becomes a passion for you, you end up finding a way to learn it, right? You don't have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to go to college. Once you have, I mean, there's you have so much information that you're bombarded with nowadays, and you can find really anything that you want to find. I mean, for me personally, I have a major in biology with natural resources emphasis, right? The whole DNR thing, which sounds amazing if this is what I was doing full time, right? Bow hunting, all that. It sounds awesome, but that's not what I do full time. I'm actually in finance, completely different industry, right? So, but it's kind of funny, like those doors that God opens for you, and the passions that He gives you, and just the way He opens your mind to learn the stuff that you want to learn. I mean, you can do so much with that, man.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I'll one thing I'll say. Sorry, Dave. I'll say, and I'll say this real quick. It's like every time if I talk to kids, that's the first thing I asked them, or an adult even. So, do you have a passion? And there's so many times people say, I don't have one. Yeah, right. Roadblocks for my kids, but they don't have a passion. Man, you got to find a passion and follow it. And I think that to me, they're like crayons. If you got a passion, you can live your life where you're only using a black and white, or just a black pen or whatever, or you can start utilizing those passions, man. Next thing you know, you got blue, yellow, green, red, and you can paint such an awesome picture by doing what you love. But just for me, and I don't want to get too, I won't be a Bible thumper, but for me, that gives me a chance to glorify God.
There you go.
Through my passions. And that way it's like, hey man, all this comes from God, and I'm just trying to utilize.
You're just the vessel, man.
That's right. Yeah. He's let me bless me with whatever talent I have. And if it's a passion, man, just try to do it for the right reasons. And next thing you know, man, that's why I feel like we've had such good success. And
you're right. No, you're right. And I think there's an age that you realize that too. And I'm starting to realize that with my kids. So I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old. And for the longest time, we wanted them to get into sports, and they never really had a desire to, but they've always swam. So from the time they were 5 up until now, we've always kept them in swimming. Because my thing was, if you don't know what else you want to do, if you don't know you want to try basketball or and it doesn't have to be a sport. So that's just my example.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to try something else, then just stick with what you're doing, because the lessons that you're going to learn, and it's amazing because over time they developed a passion for it. Right. So now, those where 2-3 years ago, we were arguing about going to practice 2 days a week. Now they have practice 4 days a week for 2 hours a day, and they love going. They love it. Yeah, so there's a certain, and I don't know what changed, but there's a certain age that I think is different for everybody, that you kind of click with that passion. And I think once you realize that passion, if you run for it, I mean, that is a calling from God in a way.
Without a doubt.
As long as your passion isn't drugs and alcohol, which by the way,
there you
away from drugs and alcohol. Yeah. So there's that. But
That's right. I love it, man. Without a doubt. Yes, sir.
For sure.
Dave, I interrupted you a time or two.
No. I'm just trying to flip this back to business. So I was waiting for you guys to finish up all this.
Well, see, earlier before you started this, you wanted to just run away. You wanted to just run. You were going to hit the record button and walk away earlier. So I'm just trying to keep you out of it.
The audience don't know that.
Man.
So tell us, I wanted to talk about the different styles that have done the best for you guys. Like, which hat designs have you guys found that are doing the best? And what do you think draws people to those? Like, what is it that draws them to that design over another design? Like I got this hat from Bowadx sent me, and it's just so cool looking. It's an interesting hat. But I love that it's like this. Like, you don't, this is what you see, but really what it is this, right? It's really an advertisement, but you're focused here, so.
Yeah. Well, and so that, like that example, some of our caps, we got just the skull on the front, and you've got Bowadx on the side, and at a lot of the shows, that might be the best selling cap we have. We have them in various color choices, but simple sales. I'm trying to think. Well, I've got one similar to the one you got on now. I'm wearing this one because it's new, so we just launched these here recently, and they've done real well. I would say anything right now, earth tones are pretty good. Anything, they're so versatile. Black is always pretty good, pretty high up on the totem pole. Me personally, I grab my olive drab caps, what have you. The one you got on Dave is one I absolutely love. Usually if I'm wearing some form of blue or red, that's what I got. I just like, but
I like the detail in there. It's cool.
Yeah, thank you. So usually
Tim's in the box over here. Tim, I got one for you. It's in the box. I got a huge box for you with all this promo stuff, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I got to get."
I haven't seen Dave in like 6 months personally.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I have to get over there now.
Well, I was going to wear probably the one that may be in that box, and I didn't. It's one of my it's one of my top favorites, which is a simple. I think it's that olive tone, olive drab, and what have you, with the black logo. But those simple designs. I'll come up with all kinds of things, and a lot of times I'll give it a try, but when it's all said and done with, my goodness, just that simple. Look at Under Armour with the Under Armour logo. I mean, it's iconic, and so I think the more you can stick with, me being ADD, you can go all over the place with things, but with that, if you've got something iconic, not that Bowadx is, but the more it gets around, the more iconic whatever brand it becomes is. But so a lot of those caps that just have our basic Bowadx with the cross, broadhead emblem in the middle. Those still, that's our bread and butter caps. And when it comes to designs, man, there again, simple just seems to be the ticket. When I reach and grab my gear, whatever I'm going to throw on for the day, usually it's going to be some of my most simple designs, and the feedback we get from others is kind of the same thing. And so there you go. So that guy on the front right there, he's a cool looking dude. So if you go there, like on the caps, you're going to see, you'll see a lot of these new ones right there. Yeah, we just launched those. Of course, that mossy oak, any of the camo ones have been pretty good, but the one right there in the middle, Dave, you were scrolling over right there. That's been a huge seller for us. I think I was wearing the one right to the right, and I realize now a lot of these, I've got more variety too. I think I just have all the new ones coming up first. But let's see, that military, the multicam black, man, that's a really good selling cap. Yeah, I love that cap. I
was gonna say to you that. I was gonna say, when you send me more, that's fine.
yeah, there you go. That one
looks legit.
Yeah, man, it's sweet. And I've got the challenge we've had with caps is, we order a good amount, and stock issues has been a challenge. So we've
this
got
looks classy. This looks classy. Like I'd wear this.
That one right there. Yeah,
pretty
that
cool.
one right there. Photo. Online pictures do not do it justice.
Yeah,
it is sweet. And when we tried the offset thing, you'll see that one cap down there had the offset. Some of our caps have, and a lot of our offset caps were out of stock on. They had a run where they did pretty well, but it's probably some of the others that I realize now, man, I've got a lot of leather.
Yeah, I'm digging that
That's
Bowadx
cool.
big game hunter with the leather logo. That's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, man.
I love that one.
I love that one. We got to get more of those in. The challenge is just trying to get colors, trying to get stock back in.
Yeah.
And because I'm noticing right now, looking like, man, we're definitely short on some caps, but like the one I got to re-update some of the pictures too. I'm a better photographer than what I used to be. but I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah, that one right there, it's a cool cap. It's and it was crazy thing about some your apparel, you'll have caps that'll kind of get stale for a bit, and all of a sudden I don't know what happens, you'll sell a ton. That multicam, or not the multicam, the digital camo. During the hunting season, it probably does. The online version doesn't do it justice, but I wear the snot out of it during season. But yeah, man, and of course we try to keep both the structured guys and the non-structured guys happy. The legacy caps, they do pretty well. So
and I think it's important to note just to say that what you're doing here, this isn't like easy. So you guys are designing something that has to look cool. You're testing a product in the market. You're taking that and you're making a decision on whether to put money into buying a certain amount of these hats. And that problem is, if let's say you buy 1,000 of one of these hats and you only sell 500, like we had one where Jamie's like, oh, we got to get this shirt. Everybody's going to buy it. I'm telling you, everybody will buy it. We did this shirt. We bought like 100 of them or something. We sold like one.
That's so true. I won't say which one, but a couple of years ago, we came out with one on a shirt, and man, I thought we are going to just sell boatloads. I went ahead and pre-ordered a ton. We eventually sold out, but I'll say it took a good while. And like that one right there, that bow hunter one, I was just sitting and thinking, man, I had the idea for that. I wanted something real simple, real streamlined. And that one, I mean, at this time of year, I got my thermals underneath. If I'm wearing white thermal underwear or whatever on the top, I'll slap that on or anything. And so, I mean, I love simple designs. That God is bigger tee.
That's cool.
That hunt
cool
strong.
Too.
Yeah, we sold. That was a record breaking tee right there for us. So we sold. I don't even remember how many it was. We sold that one, and but that it's still simple. I've got about 3 or 4 different versions of that design that look 180-degree difference, and but that's the one I thought, well, I'm going to simplify it down.
Cool too.
Like that one, cool. That one, I love that one there, and we've done pretty good with that one. Some of these.
Oh, these are sweet, man. You guys have a ton of good ones.
No, you guys got a ton.
I'm
digging into the site, and
this one
there
I appreciate.
are so many designs for sure.
I feel like this one can go anywhere, dude. Like this could go to churches. Tim and I went to this deer. Was it Tim? The venison deer dinners, whatever.
Yeah, we do like a buck dinner.
Ones?
There a lot of the churches around here put on buck dinners where they'll come in and have.
You should go there. You'd sell
speakers to do testimonies and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, that one, and I think we did that one like in a tri-blend at one time too. But which is just it's just. We have it in a gray with a black front too. That one, man, that's why it did so well, because it crossed over into so many different variations.
Wow.
And so we just think it. So we sold and we still sell a lot of those. Actually, I just got a new batch in, I think maybe a week and a half ago, to try to restock.
You could do anything with this. You could change it to orange shirt, and have black, orange and black.
Which is what we do. It's funny you mentioned that. So we've got some shirts that either the legacy designs where we'll bring out a new color of the same exact design. We've done that twice that I can think of, where we went from black to blue. For instance, that one, the Be Still and Know, it's kind of hard to see right there. That we've had that design for 8 years now. The blue one right next to All American Bowhunter.
Yeah.
That one was black and we changed it to blue. And my goodness, we like 4 or 5 years. Oh my, yeah, we probably sold, I don't know how many, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, just
wow.
shortly, just by changing the color,
That's cool,
and
man.
yeah. So sometimes, we'll do that, but yeah, we've got a design coming up maybe next that we had an old design, we just revamped it. And so which is, we do that from time to time too.
How often you come out with new designs?
I usually do one per quarter, so one's due up. And so yeah, we've got our some of those decals too. Some of your window decals, we have some that are like your 4x4 decals. Those a lot of guys take off their whatever it is, yeah, they can, and we can go any color with those too. We've got some guys got them in, either some guys do all black too, which is kind of cool, like black on black.
Cool. Ooh,
so what does better for you guys from a quantity standpoint? Hats, tees, or like hoodies?
It used to be hats, man, but it's definitely tees now. I mean, we've always sold a lot of tees, but hats. Before everybody had the 112 Richardson. I mean, we all know. I mean, that's just when I remember back before everyone had those caps, in most of the shows we went to, we would sell out of caps in the first or halfway through the second day, be all the way sold out, and we would bring tons. But everybody catches on to that. So next thing you know,
everybody's copying it.
Yeah, because you can put anything in leather right now or whatever else on a patch, and it can look pretty good. But hoodies always do well. We've sold out of a lot where we've got just certain sizes available. But the big challenge we're faced with right now, and like everybody else is cost of goods. Everything's going up.
Sure.
Our cap cost is wow, man, it's going up a good amount too. So
yeah, the caps are a lot more expensive than people think. I mean, we get like, I don't know. I mean, we don't buy a lot of caps, like I talked to you about on the phone. We buy maybe maybe 100 a year total.
Yeah.
But we don't like sell a lot. Most of ours are just given to our teams and as prizes and stuff. But either way, we'll buy we have a girl who does some custom ones for us, but we pay about $19 a hat. Almost, by the time you ship it. And so then people are like, oh, I want a hat for like $10. I'm like, I don't even think that exists. Like,
not in that quality hat. Yeah.
No.
I mean,
yeah.
Crazy, really.
Yeah. We don't have a ton of retailers. We could. We just my focus is on going consumer direct as much as possible. But the caps like this one, the one you got on, Dave. These new ones. I mean, honestly, my cost to our dealers, it's about $3.50 to $4 more per cap, which is my cost. It's how much more we pay, and shipping's gotten outrageous too. Well, we had a coffee, and our coffee. I'll put our coffee up against anybody. It's phenomenal, but the challenge we got into with coffee was shipping. You put it in there, next thing you know, shipping $6.95 or $7.95, which we're not making a dime off that. It's just that once you hit that certain ounce threshold, you gotta no matter what, you gotta show priority, and so everything has just gone up over the last year and a half or so, and so it takes its toll on things, but
yeah,
we're
hard.
Yeah,
I think a lot of companies are in that boat though right now with materials, and for anything, it could be metal or steel or it doesn't really matter what it is. There's somebody struggling.
There,
so
well, a lot of people don't know. They think I do Bowadx full time, which it's semi is, but I'm in clinical diagnostic sales, and so I work with a lot of hospital labs and different ones, and I mean, it's amazing what's on backward for any company, and some of the stuff like we need it might be a $3 washer, but you can't get that washer. And what we've kind of realized too, there's a black market that
developing,
but they're using inferior product, inferior plastics, and you get something that should last 3 years, and it's not even lasting 3 to 4 weeks. So that's been a huge problem across the board. So it's gotta be careful out there. But
absolutely, no, you see that in almost every single industry right now. Price of goods and inflation and all that. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, and it trickles through everything for sure.
Well, you're right, and I'll make the point that our typical customer, like everybody's everybody's just trying to survive out there, and now when you pay $3.50, $4 for whatever it is per gallon of gas, and then a loaf of bread is going up, it's doubled, and milk. Next thing you know, you're all of a sudden that looking at that t-shirt or whatever it is you're looking at, that, man, the value of that dollar, it really goes up. You start thinking, man, do I really need this or not? So, we see it. Yeah, I think everybody's seeing it. It's just trying to, our goal is just to, stay focused and keep giving it all we got.
No, but to that regards, I mean, your prices are not outrageous by any means. Well, I mean, the price on a lot of your stuff is very, on all of your stuff. I don't know why I said a lot of your stuff. On all of your stuff,
I appreciate it.
Is very, very reasonable for the quality that you guys are putting out.
Well, I appreciate it. We wanted to go up. Man, we wanted to go up, not just to go up, because we've got competitors that sell basically the same things, at 30, 40, 50% more at times. And
right.
But for my goal, I know how people are struggling, and I might make less on that item, but at the same time, if I can help this guy or girl, whoever kid, be able to get into a Bowadx shirt, or if they want to be able just to share their love for archery, and I don't want to hinder that in any way if I can. So we really do need to go up on all the tees, probably $2 or $3 a piece,
right?
But we're trying not to, and we're trying to keep it where it is. So
hopefully ride out this inflation, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's without a doubt.
No doubt, man.
Yeah.
So what about you, man? So how did you get into archery? What was it, like your dad that took you out? What was it?
My dad, we've always hunted together. My goodness, my first deer I shot at was a doe. I missed her with 3 shots. The last shot, I got I hate to say it, the youngin, but it was a button boat, man. It was a buck. I was happy.
That's all right.
I was excited. I was on cloud 9. But dad really, he got me into archery. Dad had basically he went from McPherson back in the day. Then
we're just talking about McPherson on our live event.
Then he had a Browning, and then I think I had a Point Blank. I don't even know who made Point Blank. I don't know if y'all remember those. It was a Point Blank, and
you don't happen to have any of those still, do you?
I did for a while, and I had a guy. He was running a camp for kids, and he needed something, and so I went ahead and just let him have it. I killed a lot of deer with it. I probably wouldn't shoot him. The arrow, you shoot it and it do that number,
no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Back then too, I thought heavier was better. I'm not, it's good to have some FOC, but man, I was shooting. I don't know if you guys remember like the Razorback 5s and different things, but I was shooting one from Walmart, and it was like 150 some odd grain. And when you're not shooting, shooting, a fast bow, I mean, it was doing the rainbow effect. But
you're letting gravity take it.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about tuning. I remember no joke, my rest, I thought, man, that's pretty good right there. That's pretty. It was just flying all over the place. But I was lucky to get a good couple animals. But archery, man. So my wife, she'll back me up on this, because she tells me I false advertise, because I've always hunted, but I went through a stage during college, and stuff, where, man, I was chasing 2-legged deer instead of 4-legged deer. and so hunting kind of took a semi back seat. And
I think we all did in college.
Yeah, right. So once I tied the knot with my wife, man, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't have anything better to do, but I mean, I love my wife. But
just don't tell her about this podcast. You'll be good.
Yeah, right. So I really got into archery. And man, I was down in Jacksonville, Florida, and archery was huge down there. And you would think, it's big in Tennessee, but man, it was nothing like it was down in Florida. And so there was a range, and I got this addictive personality, and whenever I get into something, man, I'm 120%. So man, I got to know every single thing about every single bow. I was going through probably 6 to 10 bows a year, no joke. I mean, I would buy and resell on like on Archery Talk, archerytalk.com, man. I was on there all the time, and I usually made some money. But I mean, I probably, I don't know the Bowtech back then, which Bowtech I had. I had so many Bowtechs. Maybe it's a Tribute. I had that one, but maybe the 82nd Airborne one. I really just, that's when I really got into tuning. And sorry, I got a big mastiff. He's trying to come through the door here. But right. Yeah, hey buddy, I really just got to where, I was trying to learn everything I could about bows, and man, I couldn't get enough. I mean, I'd spend hours every night, just trying to learn everything about every single cam out there. I was building my draw boards, timing boards, and everything. And so that's what it got to the point where I was probably spending too much time with it. But and that's I would drive up to Kentucky. Most of my hunting's in Kentucky, so I would drive up to Kentucky to bow hunt, and Dad and I would, we'd bow hunt together. And I don't archery, man. It's always been there, but most of it it's around age 30 is when it just hit me where I was all or none. And watching you guys, man, really, I mean, I remember watching you guys reviews, you name it. I mean, seriously, I promise you, guys watching me, I promise you, BowhunterPlanet, I watched more of y'all stuff.
You're like, who's this guy in the city who doesn't know what he's talking about?
Yeah. I mean, really, it
the
was,
amateur video for the amateur bow hunter.
Oh man, even the logo, y'all's logo, I was like, man, that thing's on point too. All of it, man. It was, but that's really, I probably got a lot of my, a lot of what I did was, so hey, sweetie, you can shut that door. Home life. But a lot of what I did, man, really, I would say, no joke, you guys stemmed a lot of things. I don't even, how long have you guys been on doing the show?
2009.
Yeah,
2009.
So 13 years coming up. Yeah,
that's right.
I remember it was we talked about, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, it was you and I went and did some kind of we went back up to our alma mater for my birthday in September of 2009. And that's when we talked about it. And about 2 weeks later, we launched.
Because
if I remember,
so my daughter was born in 2009, and my first daughter. So I'm like 2010. All those times. I remember, just like say, I'd see you guys, and I mean, holy smokes, I forgot who all I was.
Days.
But but they were good.
The funny part was, the thing about this business was that Tim and I, when we started, we sat down and had coffee, and I said to Tim, I want to do BowhunterPlanet. And he's like, why? Because we were talking about doing a fish keeping, which we actually own reeferplanet.com, but that turned into,
that's a different topic.
It's a different story.
Yeah, exactly.
But we were going to do a saltwater fish tank, type thing. And then I was like, I just really like hunting. It's just fun.
I was not a hunter, by the way.
Yeah,
I never hunted before BowhunterPlanet. I
hunted my whole life. My whole life I've been hunting. So I said, and I had about 3 or 4 friends who still work on our stuff today that were from my high school that hunted with me and hunted, here and there. And then my cousin, who was a real big hunter with me. But anyway, so I was like, Tim, we got to do YouTube. He's like, nah, he goes, we don't need to do YouTube. I'm like, I think we really do. Honestly, like, we could do this, I'll film it on my garage. So we started filming, and I started looking at the industry, and I because we were going to try to compete with Archery Talk. That was our first thing, where Tim's like, let's just do a forum. But then
passive income. Great.
They're so big, I'm like, I don't think we could compete with that. They're just so big. And I said, we could create a forum, but I think we should focus on this YouTube as well. And so we started doing the videos, and I'll never forget this, because I remember you know, and working in business in the real world, like I have a personality. I can call someone and have small chat. I can talk to them, try to talk them into what I want, you know, based on what I'm asking. Right. And so I small talked with Luminac and with Darton, and they both gave us a chance. You know, they're like, wow. I told them, I said, listen, I just need a little break. I need something to play with. I got this idea, and I see who's doing it in the industry today. There's not much going on. The people doing it are not, they have like kids' toys in the background. They got, you know, I'm like, let us try to make this a little more professional. So once Darton and Luminac gave us a chance, it kind of opened the door to allow us to start like getting bows. And then we ended up going to a pro shop called MJC Archery, which Jim still has it today. And I said to Jim, and I used to sit there with him every day. I'd sit with him on every Friday because I had every other Friday off or something. I'd sit with him and the whole day and just learn everything I could about that archery shop. And he sold Matthews and Hoyt in Prime and G5. And at the time, maybe one more brand. And I learned so much from sitting there listening to Jim, you know, deal with the business and shooting there with him and all that. That I was like, and I was just there for the business. I wasn't even there for like as an archery tech or anything like that. I was literally just sitting with him, bull crapping the whole day, and then just taking it all in, you know, like how it works, what, you know. And he would then loan us bows to take back to our studio to do the video and then give them back to him. And so we had the Z7, we had a couple initial bows, and then after a little while, the company started sending us the bows to do, and this is where things turned, right? They started like snowballing now.
Oneidas and
well, then Oneida came to us because they're like, hey, you know, we see you guys are doing this media stuff with cameras. We need some help. And they were up in Marion, Michigan at the time with the Polytons own them. They don't own them anymore. So we started helping them. And so we had a ton of Oneidas. They kept giving us free bows to help them. And so it was great. We got to do more, but the bows weren't that great. You know, they have a ranch. Listen to this crap. They have an actual high fence ranch. Okay. They own it. It's like 1,000 acres. And they said to me, Ted Nugent hunts here all the time. Come up here, help us with these videos. You go out and shoot a buck and you'll have meat and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, sure, why not? I'll take the meat. I don't care. I'll go out there, shoot a buck. I don't care. It's free. Okay. So I go out there and this guy, it's me, my buddy who's filming it in this guide. And this buck comes out. He's like a 110, right? And the guy goes, you can shoot that one, you know? I'm like, okay, whatever. So I pull back this Oneida Kestrel and I'm like, I got this all on video too. I'm like, this deer, this arrow is going so slow that the deer's like, this is the deer. This is the deer. Here's the arrow. The deer goes. It was unbelievable. I was like, oh man. And the guy starts laughing. He's like, you couldn't hit a hippopotamus if you put it out there. He's a huge guy. We can't even barely fit in this blind with him, me and Ron. And we're like, okay, you know, and it was terrible.
That's hilarious.
And I was telling Ron, I go, dude, I ain't gonna be able to kill anything with this bow. Like literally can't even get to the target. It was this 18-yard shot. This wasn't even far. I couldn't believe it.
That's hilarious, man.
Funny, man.
So but the big turning points for us are when Hoyt and Matthews came on board. Those were the biggest turning points. That's when I knew like we were going to be able to do this, you know, because when those guys came out, so, you know, we'll give you a chance, no problem, blah, blah, blah. That was when I knew, and I called my brother, I'll never forget. I was like, dude, Hoyt just did this. I can't believe it, you know? And then I called him again after when Matthews did it, because once Hoyt did it, Matthews did it. It was like, all you need was one to get the other. And so once they both did it, he's like, oh my God, man, you did it, da, da, da. And I couldn't believe it, you know, because as a kid, I go into the shop, there'd be Hoyt bows. Now I've been in the Hoyt boardroom. You know what I mean? It's like, this is so weird. It's like, it's hard to really just fathom everything that's happened with this, you know. It's just,
it has been a blessing, man. And it's been a blessing. And thank you for those comments, by the way. It is really cool because I mean we try to interact with our fan base and everybody that watches us as much as possible, but even we lose sight of how long we've been around and you know people watching us, and you know we hear the comments from the industry, you know, you guys are doing a great job, and without you guys, I mean there's nobody else doing what you guys are doing, and without you guys, I mean it just wouldn't be the same. But it's hard for us to see that sometimes, so I thank you for that. But it's been such a cool ride to kind of see, you know, how this whole, I mean, when we first originally started, we're literally sitting there, we built, you know, 2-car, think of a normal, regular 2-car garage, right?
Yeah.
And in a corner, just one corner of it, we put up a fake background like you had behind you, right? Shiplap and time boards and that kind of thing, right? No big deal.
I gotta roll mine up.
Exactly. So we'd be sitting there, and we're in Michigan, right? So like we got to film like busy season. It's cold outside.
Oh,
like,
I forgot about
20
that.
degrees, 15 degrees out in the garage. So
we're
we get everything
Band-Aids.
set up. While we're getting everything set up, we turn on this big, huge diesel heater out in the garage. Door open so we don't die of carbon monoxide poisoning. We'd shut it off, film everything, and then stop filming and then turn it back on because it was just too cold to continue anymore. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it's that whole the whole Bill Gates. I mean, we're not as big as Bill Gates, but that whole starting in your garage thing. So it was pretty cool.
Well, it's kind of funny you mentioned that. I mean, so when I started Bowadx, what gave me, so in my main job, for every time we get a new company car for 3 months, you get Sirius Radio, and they had one commercial about all these, these 3 or 4 different individuals that started their careers in the garage, and Bill Gates and whoever, Steve Jobs, different ones. And I heard it over and over and over again. And that's when, and I remember hearing the preacher, he was like, sometimes you think you're going to jump off a cliff, and you take that plunge, and it's a small curb. But all this stuff was hitting me. And that's where I was like, man, I've thought about this Bowadx long enough. I got to do it. And I did this, and I did. And I did the same thing when I started my gym. I was 24 years old when I started my gym. You talk about your passion. I used to be big time into working out, but I still work out, but my gym, I mean, I remember talking about being cold. I had no money. I saved up all my money and put everything I had into this gym. And from, October, November, December, I had for 3 months, I had no hot water, and I would do a polar bear shower plunge.
Oh God,
dude, I couldn't afford it.
That explains the full beard, man.
Yeah, you go.
Beard on your face there.
Oh man, I tell you. So I did that, and trying to shave. You're trying to shave with cold water. You know how hard that is.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Actually, I don't. But yeah.
Well, I did that, and but man, people don't realize behind the scene. I slept in a 10 by 10 room for over 2 years, and no one ever knew it. Had so much stuff, and same way with Bowadx. I started that in the garage, and man, I did it for a long time.
It's crazy. People think that because a lot of times people see you when you've kind of blown up and and they think it happened like that, right?
Yeah.
They think that overnight. You came up with this idea, you launched it, and you just had all these followers and had all these sales and all that. It doesn't happen like that.
No,
I mean, I think it was probably, Dave, for the first 7 years, it was a grind, right? I mean, it really was. And then it just kind of started to turn slowly and get, better and better and better. So,
yeah. And I'm sure you guys, like everybody else, you hit speed bumps along the way too, where you want to quit. You'll look at my wife. She has a YouTube channel. My wife makes her living off of YouTube as well. She's doing really well, but it's sometimes you'll put so much work into either a video or something else and expecting, man, this is going to take off or whatever it might be. And it doesn't happen. Even on Instagram, with all the everything going on now. I can't tell you how many times I'll put a ton of work into just a little Instagram, video or whatever sizzle reel, and be like, "Holy smokes, that got about a quarter what I was expecting."
Yeah.
And then you just I just want to give up. So, but yeah, it's tough work, man. A lot of hard work. I know you guys put a ton of time into it.
It's crazy.
Dave more than anybody else, man. I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for Dave, we wouldn't be around. That's 100% sure.
Nowhere.
He makes sure we know it too. So I'm not saying
I always rub it
doesn't
in.
Already know.
I rub it in a lot. Hey, who's uploading to Carbon TV or who's doing this? I'm like, Tim, that's you. You.
I gotta go, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. I thought you were serious. That something happened. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
No,
it's vegetarian.
The thing is, guys, it's pretty interesting. These last couple like months. You know, I've been in our studio by myself. Kevin's been in Florida, and the studio is at his house, so that's how we do it. But I have this whole house to myself. I got this whole studio basement thing to myself, and I started this idea in my mind. Like, there's a couple ideas I've been working on. One was Pro Shop series, which I haven't started yet. I'm still waiting for a Pro Shop to do it. I have a couple lined up to do it, but they have to wait for bows to come in. So this is going to be really fun. It's going to highlight a Pro Shop, and then it's going to have a bow review, but it's going to be then go back to that Pro Shop. So like, hey, you know, today's bow was brought to you by, you know, Jim Bean's Pro Shop. Here's a little bit about them, right? And there's like a 1 minute boom about this Pro Shop. Because I was thinking, like, it'd be nice to fill some gaps of bows we don't get, like some of the cheaper bows or anything, with the Pro Shop sending it, and therefore they'll get some promotion as well, because the Pro Shops aren't getting any love anywhere in the industry, realistically. So I'm like, it'd be nice to like highlight some of those guys like Jim at MJC and what they're doing, and there's just so many of them, you know, and they get no play or airtime. So I'm like, you know, I had this cool idea too, and I don't know how to do it, but I was like, you know, they do those things. I know this is in the gaming world. They do these things. The kids, I just know it through my kids, but I think it's called a raid. You know, how it works is like when someone's streaming, they do a raid on another, like a high-end streamer does a raid on a smaller streamer. And so they tell their people, go over to the stream and jump on and stay on and watch that guy. I'm going to go and watch it and help that person, right? Well, I would think it'd be cool if we could do that for Pro Shops. Like, let's do a raid on X Pro Shop. Everybody go on their website, buy something. Like, even if it's $2,
that's awesome.
$5, buy something, right, to help these Pro Shops continue.
Don't worry, we'll work Bowadx in there somehow.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to do this. I don't know how yet. I'm working on that in my mind.
I love that idea.
I've been working on is this classic edition, which has been awesome. People really loving this classic idea.
Kind of like crowdfunding, right?
What's that?
I said it's kind of like the raid thing. Sorry, I know you're moving on, but the raid thing is kind of like a crowdfunding, right? Where you're going out and just supporting.
But you're getting something. You're buying something. You know.
Yeah, and we need more of that. I mean, I think that's a brilliant idea. And not only that, to be realistic, it's going to help you guys even get more subscribers, and because
it's
you get all the customers of Jim Bean's, you know, Pro Shop. They're going to be checking that out. They're going to go checking out that episode. Next thing you know, you picked up X amount of subscribers.
It's a win for everybody. Absolutely. Right. That's why I got to figure out how to do it to where we can push that. And I don't know how it works yet. I got to figure it out and how to do it. But that's it's a great example. Like, hey, everybody go buy a hat from you, right? I mean, it's like, boom, you know, I'm trying to get everybody to hurry up and buy a hat. Those are the kinds of things I think will help the industry if we can start doing that crowd concept.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, well, you got to, or with social media. I had a call a few days ago with a individual, you know, and with like social media in general now, the algorithms, it's tough, and that's one thing I was saying. They're like, oh wow, you know, it's
tough.
Yeah, and I remember when we started, I had some horrific designs that I did. I'll say I did when we just got started. But the thing is, I would put that on Facebook, and we'd sell. You might sell 50 in 20 minutes. Back when we only had hardly. But the thing is, even though let's say we had 1,200 followers, well, we might get several thousand eyes on it, and next thing you know, you may get less than 1% or 2% of your followers even seeing a post now. So it's made it's so challenging. Trying to
Facebook's a disaster. That's the worst.
It is.
Well, that's kind of how this whole podcast idea came up. You know, we're always trying to think about how do we stay relevant? How do we stay in front of our people, right? Yeah. And Dave came up with the idea. Again, credit to Dave for sure. This is our fifth season?
Wow.
Where it's like, hey guys, we got to start doing podcasts, right? And we started doing, and it was a joke at first, man. I mean, it was like none of us had experience with sitting around a table talking. We literally sat there with a whiteboard writing down questions that each one of us could ask, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it just evolved into something bigger. But my point is that it is you those algorithms, that the way that the world changes so fast nowadays. It's hard to stay relevant. It's hard to stay in front of people. So, I mean, that's always been a struggle that we've had, but we're always trying to come up with new stuff.
Well, it's been tough, man. I can tell you on the Bowadx, our main page. I mean, it's been, you know, it's crazy. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, when you had just a fraction of followers, you might get, you know, 1,000 likes on something. Whereas now you might, I mean, sometimes it might be less than 100. And you're like, what in the world? Yeah. Yeah.
I think they see the camo, they see the bow thing, and I just don't think the algorithms like our industry much.
Exactly right. Yeah,
it's hard to keep up with this stuff, honestly. Like, you talk about, like, you know, reels and TikTok and YouTube shorts, and you're constantly editing. Like, I'm constantly working on clips of each video I do to break those up into smaller videos, multiple videos of just one thing that go on these other platforms, you know. Like, I'm looking at your reels right here. You got like 3,000 views, 3,000, 5,000. Well, one did a little bit better, right? Why? So now you have to like deep dive why it did better, and how can you put that into your next one. I've been learning tricks on TikTok about, like, people, how they can get more views on videos by adding a lot of wording, so people have to read through it more, and then having it short in time. It's very interesting things, like, I'm trying to figure out. Like, I'm like, wow, how does this work? And to be honest, it's kind of it's a lot of work, because it's just, you can't rely on one. I think originally people thought we could rely on Facebook and call it a day. We hit 130,000 followers on Facebook. We haven't grown since. That's how
that was 3 years ago. And you can't tell me that we shouldn't be.
Right.
We went up, and every other platform we went up straight up. Like, it makes no sense. So, like, you know, YouTube, we went up 20,000 in that time frame. TikTok went 0, like last August 0 to today almost 57,000. I mean, it's like that. Wow. And like these other one, Instagram, we went, what, Tim, 30,000, 40,000 in that 30
time? To 60 in a matter of like a year.
But Facebook, something's wrong. It's just broke.
Something's wrong.
Broke on that one.
I don't hardly do any pushing or anything on Facebook anymore. I mean, there's you know, your crowd. I mean, I guess if you're reaching that over 50 crowd to some extent, but
it's interesting too. But yeah, I agree. And I was gonna say real quick, some people though have a good Facebook powerhouse, and those people I'm referring to are Expedition Archery's team. Those guys in Kenneth Lancaster and them guys, the Given Right, they've done something right on Facebook, because their crowd always shows up. And when we do a live feed on Facebook with them, they always show up. There'll be 150 people watching that live show with them, which we're doing soon, Tim, by the way, I forgot to tell you. But that's the kind of crowd they bring in, and I don't know why, but their audience is right there. Because I mentioned to them, they had a marketing meeting, and I'm invited to a lot of these marketing meetings. I've been on Expeditions, Bowtex, tons of them. And I was on Expeditions, and that was one thing they talked about. They said, hey, we really want you sharing our content on Expedition, Kenneth Lancaster stuff on the, you know, they own that show. So like, you know, and I said, I like raised my hand, you know, I said, hey, you guys sure you want to use Facebook? I feel like it's kind of dead, you know, like, why aren't we doing this on Instagram? Or they're like, oh, well, we can talk about that later, but we're using Facebook. I was like, okay. And then they were right. I look at their numbers. I'm like, wow, okay. You know,
that's crazy, man. Yeah. We just haven't had a lot of luck with it. I mean, me either.
It used to be a powerhouse.
Powerhouse. That's how we built Bowhunter I mean, to be honest,
crushing it.
That's how we grew. So I mean, our sales back in the day, but I can't imagine if we had jumped on, if we started even a year earlier, because I mean, the amount of sales we were generating through Facebook was just crazy. And it just at the snap of a finger, you know. But then you look, it's like, well, I did a kind of a report, and that did a bunch of, you know, took a bunch of data points, and it came out, I think it was 1.76% of our followers were on average were basically seeing our posts and with engagement. And low. So, you know, at that point in time, you get to the point you just want to give up with that. So
they made a mistake in their algorithm, and where they made the mistake was they required you to pay to get in front of your people. And this is where Facebook, I think, blew it, in my opinion, and they really messed up.
That's right around the time that they went public as a company.
Well, the reason for them, the reason they are still okay today has nothing to do with the business part. It has everything to do with the personal part. The personal part's no problem. I want to go on and see what my cousin's up to or see his kids playing basketball. That's what I use it for. And I don't use it for the marketing that I would have originally. And this is why they went in and said everybody has to pay to promote if you're a business page. Whereas what they should have done is say, if you have over 300,000 followers, you have to pay. But anything under that, you reach everybody, right? That's where they messed up, in my opinion. Right. They should have never went after small businesses like what we have. They should have went after the Fords, the GMs, the big companies that have money to pay them. You know what I mean? Instead, they're coming after me for $30 to reach another 2.2%.
Well, that's the thing about it too, Dave. When I remember when $100 would, it will show you when you define that crowd, it would show you how many you're expected to reach. Let's say $100 back in the day might have been 40,000. All of a sudden it goes from like 40,000 down to like 2,500. I'm like, when that happened, I'm like, man, it's just not, and you don't even really know. I remember too, it's supposed to reach out to that target market that you said, you kind of set the parameters. And then I'm looking at a lot of these lights and what have you. I'm like, these people, they're from Asia. They care less about bow hunting. And awesome. We do see that a bunch. So we're still trying to figure it out, man. It's been tough.
One time I took the boost and I just maxed out just to see what it would cost and what I would get. It was like something like $23,000 and the reach was like 30,000 people. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Really?
I'm like, wow.
Yeah. You can't believe it. I mean, there's no way.
No. And the thing, like you said, you gotta be some big company. They've killed small companies because you can't grow without visibility. And sadly, no one uses a newspaper now. Obviously I wouldn't, but even, I mean, I don't know. I wish I had the magic bullet too. I mean, and probably consistency is a big part, like YouTube. We probably need to, we've got our YouTube channel with Bowadx, but I need to do way more of that. And
YouTube's really hard to grow because YouTube,
it is
not for some people, like some of the groups that are out there are doing like, whatever they're doing is working very well. They're going up constantly, but people like what I'm doing, I'm finding that it's been very hard to grow unless we start to do a lot of like crazy stuff, like shorts that are stuff I never did before. So now I'm focused on these shorts and all this stuff, and we have gone up. We keep going up now, but my goal has always been the same with YouTube. It was to become. I want the 100,000 mark because it's not actually, I don't want it just for the viewership. I want the button. Tim's laughing because I always talk about it. I want I just feel like I worked so hard on YouTube over the years that all I want is the stupid button to put in the backdrop, to show that we actually did something,
Right.
And it's funny because some people who have it don't even show it off or anything. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like all that work, and it's like,
I'll tell you, I know my wife spends probably 40, 50 hours a week between editing, doing her videos for her makeup channel. And she was growing pretty rapidly. Then all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe a year ago, it slowed down big time. And I don't know, I like photography, I'm big into that. But I think, that market's so huge. I just don't know if YouTube, if all these people are behind the scenes that have targeted the hunting market to some extent, but you do have some guys that are killing it, that are doing well, that are still growing. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just they've got that certain fan base but holy smokes, man, it is.
I've met some people on TikTok that are TikTok was interesting when I got on there because I wasn't sure what to expect. Everybody talked about it being a kid thing and all this, but what I actually ended up finding out was not only was it it's a very cool platform. It works very flawlessly. You can get to all your people. I really love that part of it. But what I found is these kids want to learn archery. There's a lot of like questions. And it's amazing. It's like real people, like legit. And I'm like, wow. And so the growth rate's been phenomenal on TikTok. But what I'm finding is people who have like 250,000 followers on TikTok, 1 million that do archery stuff, they don't really do anything else. Like they're just got lucky. Here's one guy. He shoots like his wedding ring. He throws it in the air and shoots it with a target bow or a traditional bow. You'll shoot it and go through the ring, whatever. It's cool. Right. But there's only so many times you can look at that and be like, wow. Right. You know what I mean? Like people aren't going to continuously look at it. He has 1 million followers, but If you go to his YouTube, he's got like 1,000, right? If you go to like his Instagram, he's got like 500, right? You know what I mean? Like he has nothing else. There's nothing there. There's no podcast. There's no show. There's no. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's individual influencers, but that's not even an influencer. That's just the guy who's got a lot of following because he did something funny that people liked, you know, but what's that really lead to? It's not a business.
There's something about TikTok that allows different stuff to go viral super quickly.
Yes.
And when that happens, I think that's where you're getting, you know, all the followers and that kind of stuff. So if there is a formula to that, we could figure it out. Awesome. You know, a lot of stuff that we did that we do on TikTok, it does really good. But every once in a while, you'll have that one video that you're not expecting that just blows up. Like Dave did, it was like a 15-second clip of broadheads in the twin strike crossbow, right? And that video just completely blew up for no reason.
990,000 views.
It was literally a cell phone video taking in a ground blind while we're hunting, and it went nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
So they don't know. There's the TikTok thing. I think it's about the growth of the platform. I don't think Facebook's growing anymore. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think their last report is they actually lost overall users over the last quarter, and they didn't gain for the first time in their history.
Wow.
So I think it's the generational thing. I think it's the growth of the new platforms, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, we're always talking about how do we stay ahead of that, and that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Well, you know, my dad, he's 75, and he got on Instagram. He doesn't have a page, but now he'll probably spend more time on Instagram than Facebook at 75. And got it. You know, and it's I don't know if it's instant gratification. You can see just go through and and I don't know. I've got on my personal page. I mean, I've got one picture. I don't know. I mean, it was posted back in September. I don't know how I hit a feed or something, but all of a sudden, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like 12,000 likes, 11,000. Yeah. Some days it'll go 400 or 500, and you know, and it's not even. Or I'll have pictures. I'm thinking I don't even want to post that picture, and all of a sudden it'll get like 4 times more views than another picture you spent all this time editing on and everything else. Yeah. So you just, funny. I don't even know what causes that, but I guess sometimes you get,
for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, Chad. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Crowdfunding.
For those that are looking, it's Bowadx, Bowadx.com. Absolutely amazing stuff. You got to check it out.
Hey, I'll say this too, real quick. So 10% of all profits go to charity. We support Operation Smile, a Mercy Shield, Feed My Starving Children, St. Jude's, local food banks. I'm trying to think. I know I'm missing some. Cure International. We try to do all we can, like I say, if it's locally too. So we've been real, blessed to help a lot of kids, and just know anything you buy, it's going for a higher, and it's more than just buying the shirts. You're doing some good out of it. So we appreciate it.
It's been absolutely amazing, and what you are doing is amazing. Keep it up, man. I can't wait to touch base with you maybe later in the year, see how things are going, and maybe even hook up with you at an event or two.
Yeah,
maybe we can make that happen. So
yeah, exactly. Well, you guys keep doing what you do too, man. I love watching you guys. This Dave, this whole new thing with the I forget what you call it, the not vintage bows, but
the classics,
man. I'm going to end up buying.
It's going to be sweet.
You're going to cause me to.
I know.
I shoot prime. I love my primes, and man, I tell you what, sometimes I just love getting nostalgia.
All right, Dave. There's the plan, dude. You can't just buy one anymore. You got to buy 2 of everything, so we can keep
that's true. Yeah, when I hunt, whenever I hunt, I've got a backup bow, man. I've already learned my lesson twice. So well, guys, I sure appreciate y'all's time too. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Chad.
Appreciate it.
The Bowhunter podcast would like to thank our outdoor partners for their support. It's because of these companies we can keep this show educating, entertaining, and growing the archery heritage. Please check out these partners' links in the description of this podcast.